The delicious GOTY 22 with Dali from the side quest. That's me.
I like how you had to write with Dali.
Yeah. He says, "Let's go." All right.
Originally, he had presented it as I
Happy
was
birthday,
presenting back.
year. It's the year's birthday. It turns let's see. According to the calendar, reality is 2022 years old, almost 2023 years old. There was nothing before that.
Dang,
So happy
she's
birthday, year.
old.
Anyways, these games did not make it, but they could have because they were fantastic. Evil West, I just finished a review on. Love the stupidity of that game. It's so fun and great visuals and just great controls. It's an awesome palate cleanser. Splatoon 3 on the other side is Splatoon 2 is great. Splatoon 3 is way more technical, I feel, in terms of a lot of the online battle stuff. And I loved it. I just felt as if it was almost weird to say it. Splatoon 3 is almost too much. Like there is too much stuff in Splatoon 3.
Agreed.
They have a freaking like card game in it now. And so it just adds a bunch of more stuff. Anyway, it's still a great game. And then Elden Ring, I had kind of turned the corner on Elden Ring some point during the year when I finally got into the idea of Souls-likes and roguelikes and kind of the mashup of those two.
Went back and did the tutorial.
Went back and did the tutorial. I walked right past it. It was not designed well. But no, I did definitely enjoy Elden Ring. It was just, it's such a massive game, and I'm going to continue playing it. I'm like chipping away at it little by little. But it was so massive that it was almost overwhelming, I think, and that's potentially why it ended up not, being what my top 5. Anyways, time for my top 5. These are going to be in no particular order, so let's go into my top 5.
Yeah.
Again, no particular order.
Let's go.
Curse to Golf. Come back here. Curse to Golf.
Spoilers.
Spoiler. Really enjoyed this game. Lots of fun. It's a real simple premise, but it's executed really well. And it's the kind of game that we played it at PAX East, and it finally came out, and I think it earned an award at PAX East from us. And it came out, and both Taylor and I had codes for it, and we had a good chat about it. It's such a nice, laid-back type of game that it succeeds on what it's trying to do, which is to create this golf game, which is not a golf game. It's more of like a 2D tactical style thing. But it's got a really cute story, great premise, and it works. So
also a great Steam Deck game.
I was going to say great Steam Deck game, like fantastic Steam. You want to play this on a portable device, Steam Deck or Switch. You want to play it on one of those two devices because that's what this is definitely designed for. I do think they're going to come out with an iOS version. They have to at some point because it feels like it's perfect for mobile as well. How you control stuff, but yeah, it's good, real good game. Yeah, sorry I spoiled it. Tunic, great game. I'm a Zelda fanatic, and I battled between this and Elden Ring actually, but I think it was. And this is on Game Pass. Is it still on Game Pass? I think
Yeah.
It might still be.
It is.
It scratches this weird itch for this adventure game that it pushes you to think you're on the right path, but then you realize you've been making bad decisions the whole time when you've been like traveling around and doing some of the adventuring, that it's devious in certain ways. And people talk about the difficulties in the game and how there's a pretty big difficulty arc that happens. But I appreciate that because you learn right away how to utilize different tools that they give you and different weapons and stuff. And then you apply them and they get, there's like a parabolic curve of how complex some of these things get. And then you realize that you're almost overthinking some things. And that's when you actually start solving some of the puzzles in the game. But I really do love it. And I love the whole idea of the booklet concept as well. Anyways, next game. Marvel Snap, the game I've probably played the most this year. Since it came out, I'm going to guess I probably got, hundreds of hours into Marvel Snap. Johnny and I are pretty addicted to this.
Weeping for all of the other good games.
Yeah. No, it's so easy to play. And I think that's what really makes it enjoyable for me, in that I am normally crappy at card games, but this isn't necessarily a card game. It's a card game because you're collecting cards, but it's played more like a very fun. It's like Marvel Uno in a weird way, and I think that or Marvel War. You guys played War. It's more War than it is like an actual collectible card game. But I think it just plays so easy, and it's so simple to get into that. And I love developing the different strategies. Like Johnny and I will post all the different types of decks that we're using and modifying the Agatha casino deck that he calls it and stuff like that. But I'm going to end up eventually being bored of this, and it could happen a lot quicker than I anticipate, because you get to a point where you're like, okay, I figured it out. Unless they start actually adding PvP or like quests, like Zack quests or side quests, the game's going to end up becoming, pretty quick to, bottom of my iOS deck. But at the same time, I'd love to see a physical version of this game come out, because that could actually be kind of cool. Collectible version. Imagine all those variants. And Kirby, my boy Kirby's on there, because it's just a fun, chill game that you don't need to do. Don't need to worry much about Kirby. And in this case, yes, the change to Kirby into a 3D Mario, was it Mario 3D World aesthetic, I think worked so well in this that it's in a weird way, it's essentially moving Kirby closer and closer to like top tier Nintendo franchises, right up there with like Mario. Very close to that, I think, because it is. Go ahead, JJ.
I'm gonna say thank you for using the same picture twice.
Yeah, I didn't. The one on the left is the video, but if I click the video, it just goes to the next, so it didn't work. Okay. So, yeah. But no, it's just so perfectly put together. It's a cohesive game. I mean, it's got this bizarre post-apocalyptic world to it, and it's got seriously good boss battles in this game. Like the final boss battle is actually a lot of fun. In how many phases it goes through. So, and there's tons of secrets too. Like they throw codes at you. You build up a town in there. I've gone back in and kind of replayed this several times. I mean, it definitely gets that it scratches that Mario itch that we haven't had like a true Mario game since Odyssey. So, but this definitely hits that. So yeah, I loved it. Kirby was a great game. And finally, again, the video won't play, but Vampire Survivors. The whole reason for me, when I started playing it on Steam Deck, I think that's when my mind flipped on a Steam Deck, and I thought, holy shit, this is perfect on the Steam Deck, because it's the kind of game you can pick up and play, and by the time the Steam Deck battery runs out in about 40 minutes, you have already played enough to enjoy it. And it's super cheap. It's free on mobile, and it is a horrible bathroom game, because you think you're only going to be in there for like, a minute or two, and the next thing you know, you've been playing Vampire Survivors and upgrading, and it's like it's gone way too far, and your family's trying to get a hold of you. But it's just such a good game, such a simple game. Great job at using Unity assets to the developers, and just literally, it's like almost face slapping at how come nobody thought of this before, type of thing, because it's so effortless in what it does. And yeah, it's really rough around the edges. I'm not gonna say it's not, but God, it's just so addicting.
I keep trying to play it as a twin stick shooter, which is always very funny.
No, I was saying last week when Taylor and I were chatting, there's a point that you can get to this game where you can kind of let it play by itself, and it's satisfying because you've built up your powers enough that when it goes off on its own, it's kind of fun to watch this dude just take and you start unlocking the different characters. It just, I don't know. It's really nice.
It's really fun when you can just stop moving.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just so nice. You're like, I'm going to sit here for a little bit and see how many of these swarms I can take. Oh, there's a big swarm of bats. I got this covered. Oh, there's a big swarm of skeletons. Got that covered. It's really nice and satisfying for that. So
I usually play this game like pacifist mode from Geometry Wars 2.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
That pacifist mode was my absolute favorite way to play Geometry Wars. That was such a good concept for that game.
And that's it for me. Thank you. Have a nice year.